talking or we racing?
Welcome back to the channel, guys. As y'all can see standing next to me, another beautiful 2023 Escalade V. Mr. Lau sent it to us all the way from the West Coast. Didn't want just simple bolt-ons. He wanted more than that. He wanted to hear a chop at idle and wanted to hear the exhaust when he got on it. So essentially, I think we call it, like on our website, our stage 2 package. But if you have an Escalade V, guys, just go to our website, fill out an inquiry, or just call the shop and our guys will get you taken care of. But this is now, I think, the highest Escalade V that we've built to date. Let me pop the hood and show you what we did. Dun dun dun. All right, so Mr. Lau's Escalade V. Those of you that don't know this platform, if y'all haven't watched our channel before, as water's dropping on my head, it is a 6.2 liter pushrod motor with a 2650 supercharger, just like the 19 ZR1. Main difference being it is direct injection only instead of direct injection and port injection for the fuel system like the 19 ZR1s. So Mr. Lau wanted not just your average Escalade V, he wanted to make sure you could hear it chop at idle, and he wanted to make sure you could hear it when you got on the gas, and really he wanted a stoplight to stoplight killer. So we pretty much did everything we could to one of these to date. So we pull the supercharger off, we send it to our good buddy Greg over at Kong Performance. He does a complete port work of inside the supercharger. Opens it up quite a bit, right? I'll go into I'm gonna do it now, screw it. So because we're talking about the supercharger, we port it. On any ported supercharger we do, whether it's a 1.7 liter supercharger or a 2650 or 3 liter, we're opening up the inside of the blower so much that we always run a larger throttle body to be able to help increase airflow going into the supercharger, right? Well, it's a very tight fit, and Jason might show this more in detail later, but we've kept a stock throttle body on this one and previous ones we've done because of the amount of room we have from the placement of the end of the supercharger where the throttle body mounts to the fan shroud. It is a very tight fit. Even this SMB cold air that we buy, this 90-degree turn is literally right up against the air box. So, or I'm sorry, the fan shroud. So if we wanted to do a custom 103, 112, even 120 millimeter throttle body like we do on the 19 ZR1s, we would have to build a spacer that goes in between here in the air box to then put a 103 throttle body on. It's pretty much an adapter because the 103 throttle bodies that are on the market right now will not just bolt right up to this supercharger. If that makes sense. So if it's a 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 inch adapter, there would be no room for this to fit. We would have to either modify the shroud and or we would, which we still can do later in the future, move the throttle body. We could actually build out of aluminum, which I would do like aluminum 5 inch as much as possible. I'd make the bend up here and we'd actually move the throttle body up out of the way and then have the air box here. Or we can try cutting on this shroud and doing crazy stuff to give us more room. But anyways, long story short, guys, of this build, that is our restriction point. We ported the supercharger, we have an air box, we have a smaller supercharger pulley, still has the factory lower balancer, American Racing headers. No one makes connection pipes for these things yet, as far as I know, so we're still building our own connection pipes, and we still have the factory muffler out back. And then as far as the engine goes, we do our complete, we call our stage 3 cam package, cam, springs, retainers, and push rods, the whole 9 yards. So this thing is a max effort build, except for, I'd say, 2 things. Because he's going to the West Coast, he's restricted to 91 octane. Kind of sucks. So the supercharger pulley we have on this setup, we're not spinning the supercharger as hard as we normally do on previous setups that run 93 octane, or some of our customers that even say they run 93 octane with a fuel additive. So the blower speed could be increased, as well as, again, the restriction point, in my opinion, is this throttle body. I think if we could put a 103, 108, 112 on this thing, I think we would probably see another 30 to 40, maybe even 50 horsepower gains. But with that being said, And I know I just said a lot of negative stuff, but with that being said, this thing still makes over 700 rear wheel horsepower. And this is a all-wheel drive vehicle that, I say this every time if y'all watch our channel, these things are so nice to drive. You have the comfort of a Cadillac that your whole family can fit into, as well as the performance that anyone that pulls up next to you, if you want to have fun stoplight to stoplight, you can do it. It is an absolute blast to drive. So I've dynoed it. Like I said, we pick up over 200 rear wheel horsepower with this package. The customer has the sound that he wants. It still drives like a stock vehicle, except for you feel a little shake and idle with the camshaft in it. Boston's on it to give it a good look all the way around. And yeah, I'll start this thing up so y'all can hear it. And then I'm gonna go take it on the street. I'm gonna drag it for you guys so y'all can see what this thing will do. 0 to 60, what it's 60 foots, and even quarter mile ET, as well as quarter mile per hour. Because it is a heavy beast. We've been showing a lot of trucks on our channel lately. We showed a 23 GMC Denali. I think it went like a 12.0. We just posted a 19 Silverado that went an 11.7 or 11.8. This thing is a lot heavier than those. So I'm predicting like a mid 12, depending on traction and how it hooks up in this crappy weather. But if it runs faster than that, great. But I'll stop talking. Let's go get some action shots. Traction control off, stability track off, and I'm actually going to test it in manual mode first to test our upshifts and our shift points. We'll see if it works. Alright, yeah, it is kind of warm. That thing dead hooked and went. That felt absolutely great. I think it was a 60 foot is a 2.0. I mean, these are heavy vehicles. I'd like it to go a 1.8 or a 1.9. I might have to try to launch it harder. 12.5 at 115 miles an hour, I think, right there. Give me 1 second. So this thing, again, essentially has pretty much all the mods that we do on like our 19 ZR1 1,000 horsepower package. The difference being, and the reason why the horsepower numbers aren't there yet, and I think that's why I said I think it'll go even quicker once we port the supercharger. And on all of our builds, whenever you port the supercharger, we're opening call it the bell mouth, like the inside of the supercharger, a lot, right, to get more airflow going in. Well, the throttle body, we always put at least 103 throttle body on them, if not a 112, sometimes 120, depending on what we're doing. Because of the room of the Escalade V and the way that the throttle body sits in between that and the fan shroud, to get the air box in there the way we need to, there's not enough room for us to build a billet spacer to then put a larger throttle body on it. We can do it, but we'd have to modify and do like our own aluminum piping for the airbox, and then mount the throttle body probably a little bit different spot to have to be able to run a larger throttle body. And I know I'm kind of sounding goofy right now talking, but I'm just telling you guys what we do every day. And again, this is the perfect package in my opinion, but for someone that's wanting more, do know that we can fabricate. It's just a very tight fit, and so I'd be curious to see what it gains from trying to fabricate to fit a larger 103, 108, 112 throttle body in it to accept, because this is a 2650 supercharger, just like the 19 ZR1s. Again, it's pretty much the same platform, just DI only. And we make 850 rear wheel horsepower with those all day long. Obviously a lot less drivetrain loss with the Escalade V, but if this thing's making over 700 right now, I mean, that's pretty impressive for the drivetrain loss between this and a Corvette. We'll see what this thing can do. Something else I forgot to mention earlier, this Mr. Lau does live on the West Coast, so he is blessed with 91 octane, so we are not spinning this supercharger as hard as we normally would. Especially being a ported supercharger, you really see more gains when you spin the superchargers really hard. But because of the octane rating he's gonna have, we're not spinning that supercharger that hard, so this is not like a max effort setup when it comes to the boost level because of the octane rating. Now, if he was to put 93 in it all the time, we could spin it a little bit harder. Or if, you know, obviously for someone that wanted to get crazy and put race gas in it, or 93 with some fuel additive in it, we could turn the boost up and put more timing in it to make more horsepower as well. But because of the octane, we have the blower speed just nice and safe. So something else to remember when we're talking about these horsepower numbers for this vehicle, and what this thing runs in the quarter mile, there is plenty more room to go when it comes to boost. But I'm curious to see what this change makes. We went at 12.5 at, I already forgot, what, 115 miles an hour? Heavy vehicle. Like I said, the trucks we did like a week ago was 11-second trucks, but they're lighter vehicles. So if the changes do what I think, hopefully we can see a 12.4 here, but it needs a 60 foot. The 60 foot is all about what these things ET in the 1/8 mile and quarter mile. That felt great. 60 foot still wasn't good, but those changes, that just shows you guys what fine tuning these things does on the street or the track, whatever, and what we can do. We went from a 12.5 to a 12.1, almost an 11-second Escalade V. And I guarantee you, if we were spinning that blower harder, this thing can go in the 11s, no problem. That is, I don't want to cuss. That is sick. That is absolutely sick to have a vehicle like this, as comfortable as it is, as nice as it drives, to run a rock bottom 12-second quarter mile pass. That is cool as shit. Stoplight to stoplight. Mr. Lau, you are gonna have a freaking blast. I'm gonna pull over, I'm gonna look at the logs, make sure everything looks good, and then get it back to the shop, get it cleaned up, and sent back to Mr. Lau all the way on the West Coast. Yeah, so those of you that follow our channel, guys, as always, I greatly appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I think that helps the algorithm. I don't know. A media guy tells me to tell you all that. And then if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We have plenty of badass videos coming in the future. And yeah, give me some comments below on what y'all think about this Escalade V in particular. What y'all think about it. Until next time, guys. me that does not sound sick for a Cadillac. Comment below if you think that's too much for a Cadillac to sound like, or if it's just right. I absolutely love it. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Give it a like if you liked it so far. And please turn on bell notifications for future content, as we have cool stuff in the pipeline that you're going to want to see. And as always, please comment below.